What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Ethan Horror, and today we are back with episode 6 of my Halloween Spooktacular. I think it's episode 6. If not, it is episode 7. But today we're going to be doing another entry into my series Versus, where I pit 2 horror movie franchises against each other on a tier list, and I asked you guys to vote on which franchises I did next. I think the options were Nightmare on Elm Street versus Friday the 13th, Scary Movie versus Scream, VHS versus Paranormal Activity, and the one you guys voted on, Halloween versus Friday the 13th. So, we have 25 movies to rank on the tier list, but I will be doing one thing a little bit new. I realized that in my previous 2 Versus videos, I didn't pick a winner. I just called it Versus and ranked them ranked 2 franchises against each other in a tier list. So this time, I'm going to be averaging it out and giving you my actual definitive, better franchise. So, let's get into it. So, here we are at the tier list. At the top, we have absolute favorites. I learned that I just have to make the top tier pretty much always absolute favorites, because then nobody can argue, because I'm just saying that they're my favorites. Then we have Mommy's So Proud of You, a little bit Friday the 13th reference there. Then Entitled to One Good Scare. This is obviously a reference to the Halloween quote. It's Halloween, everyone's entitled to one good scare. Then we have Kiki Kill, meaning I want to kill this movie. And this is a reference to, of course, Kiki Ma 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 from the Friday the 13th score. And then at the bottom we have The Devil's Eyes, which is another Halloween reference. So I have these in release date order. We'll just get to it. Now, starting off with the original Halloween, and there is no question about it, this is going straight up to the top tier. It is the movie that made slasher movies popular, as much as I think that Black Christmas is the one that started slasher movies, and that this movie, and honestly kind of steals a little bit from that movie. This is the one that made it popular. Like, you can't argue against that. Even if the fans are insane for this movie and for some reason think this is the best thing since sliced bread, I personally am not that crazy about it. I think it's good. I think it is one of the best slasher movies ever, but it is not one of the best horror movies ever. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Now we have the original Friday the 13th, and this one I'm going to stick into Entitled to One Good Scare, because I'm one of the few people that actually enjoys the first Friday the 13th movie. I don't think it's good. I think it's a very watchable, passable slasher movie. How this movie created the franchise that I love so much, I have no idea, but I will be forever thankful for that. Pamela Voorhees, I don't think is a very good killer. This would be like pretty much if Scream, if Ghostface ended up being a character that you never met. Like, it's just, yay, look, it's Stu Macher's grandma. That's pretty much what this movie does. So I admit the twist sucks and Pamela Voorhees isn't a very good villain, but I do like her performance once she is revealed. Now we have Halloween 2, and this is going to follow Friday the 13th into Entitled to One Good Scare. I think as far as Halloween goes, this is probably just the most passable, good slasher movie. I could rewatch it and not have a problem with it. It's fine. It's fun. Maybe it's because it feels a lot like a Friday the 13th movie that I love it so much, but, you know, Michael is just kind of stalking around, killing people in a hospital, trying to get to Laurie Strode. I don't really like the aspect of him being her brother, which they introduce in this one, so that always knocks it back a peg, but otherwise, I think this has some of the best kills of the series, too, so I really like Halloween 2, but it's just like a passable slasher movie, so I can't put it any higher. And we have Friday the 13th Part 2, and I've sort of went down on this movie a little bit. I still think it's one of the best slasher movies of all time, so I'm going to stick this one up into absolute favorites. It's the original. It's everything I love about that original movie, but done at a lightning fast pace, because as much as I love that original movie, it is slow as molasses. You could walk away, go to the bathroom, make popcorn, grab a drink, come back down to the TV, and the scene wouldn't even be over, because there's literally like a 10-minute scene where Alice is making popcorn. So, it's, that's some coffee, I guess. Make me some. I mean, still, wow, still making coffee. Okay. By the way, if you think I'm kidding about that scene, I cut 5 minutes out of that. That scene is almost 6 minutes long. I cut 5 minutes out and only showed you about 30 seconds. So, if that tells you anything. But yeah, like, this one is just better in every way. I think it has slightly less good kills, still some very good ones, but you also get the introduction of Jason, so love this one. Now we have Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, and when I did my ranking a few months ago, I was unusually harsh on this movie. I don't hate this movie. I don't hate it. I'm going to stick it into entitled The One Good Scare. I don't dislike it because Michael Myers is in it. That's not why I don't like it. I don't even not like it. I think it's okay. It's a fine, fun, passable Halloween movie. Now we have Friday the 13th Part 3D. Another passable slasher movie, but this one I'm going to stick into Kill. I used to be a lot higher on this movie. I still think it's watchable. I will, like, if I'm binge watching the Friday the 13th franchise, I am not going to complain for a second about watching this movie. With that being said, it's just the first two movies again, but it's kind of like a middle part of the pace. You know, you get the super slow original and the lightning fast sequel. This one kind of threads the needle here. I think it has some of the best kills of the series, but also some of the worst kills of the series. So, you know, you get both sides of the coin here. Now we have Friday the 13th, the final chapter. And this is my... like, if I were to give somebody a list of slasher movies to watch, I would give them 3 movies. Scream, Halloween, and Friday the 13th, Part 4. The final chapter, this is going up into absolute favorites. This is in my top 10 horror movies. I'm a Friday the 13th guy. I love Friday the 13th more than any other horror franchise. It's kind of tied with Paranormal Activity right now, but I'm Friday the 13th guy, Jason all the way, obviously. He's my boy, so this is a very good one. I you know, usually I wouldn't be too happy about them killing Jason, but knowing that this is the 4th of 12 Friday the 13th movies, I'm not too upset. Now we have Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning. This one does not have Jason in it. I used to be pretty high on this movie. I still think it's a fun movie, but the thing is that it has such lackluster kills, and the reveal of the killer at the end does kind of leave a sour taste in your mouth. Like, if you just cut out that end scene and it just was Jason the whole time, this movie would go up probably like a whole star for me. And like I said, the kills are very lackluster. It's just kind of boring stabs and throat slits. And it's just... it does the same thing as the original, where but at least this time you are introduced to the killer, but barely. So... it kind of improves on the twist from the original, but barely. So, I'm still going to stick it... I'm going to go Mommy So Proud of You, because I would rather rewatch it than any of the ones in the tier below it, just because I do think it is a fun movie with all the wacky, insane side characters, and there are some pretty decent kills in here, and like I said, it's just a fun movie. Now we have Jason Lives. This is often considered the best of the Friday the 13th series. For me, it's not quite the best, or I wouldn't even... would I put it in my top? No, I wouldn't put it in my top 3. I'd say it's my number 4. And I'm going to stick it into Mommy So Proud of You. There was some things in this movie that I really, really liked, and some things that I really, really didn't like. Obviously, you know, this is the only Friday the 13th movie without nudity. That's not a huge negative for me. I personally... is going to make me sound like a pervert. I'd prefer if there was, because that's kind of one of the staples of Friday the 13th. But, like I said, not that big of a complaint that it doesn't have that. Otherwise, the kills, I think, are a bit more tame. I think the MPAA was starting to hack down on these movies, so the triple decap could have been way better, but there's still some pretty good kills in this. Jason's back. Obviously, I love that. You get the introduction of Zombie Jason. I don't love his look in this. You can check out my Jason looks to figure out where this one ranked. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, I enjoy it. I think it's a good movie, but there are definitely some things. Some of the humor doesn't quite work for me. That's one of my main complaints, is that the, like, meta humor doesn't really work. But Otherwise, good Friday the 13th movie. Now we have Halloween 4, or the return of the Halloween series after part 3. And this one, I'm going to stick it in entitled to One Good Scare. I'm not a huge Halloween franchise guy. That's why I was kind of disappointed that you guys ended up picking Halloween versus Friday the 13th. Because I have some controversial takes for Halloween. Because I don't love this franchise that much. This one, I think it is a passable, watchable slasher movie. You get likable characters. You get some good scenes. You know what? I'll bump it up to Mommy's So Proud of You. Because I think it's better than the ones in the tier below it. You get some good characters. You get some good kills. You get Michael Myers back. You get Loomis back. You don't get Laurie back, which isn't a huge complaint. But I think it's just a very good, passable slasher movie. Now we have Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood. And now that I'm looking at it, I think I was a little bit too harsh on Friday the 13th Part 3D. I'm going to bump it up, and then this one's going to take its place in Kiki Kill. It's not unwatchable. It's not unwatchable. I think Jason looks fantastic in here. I think there are some very creative kills, if not gory at all. For some reason, the freaking MPAA hated this movie, even though this is the same year that Hellraiser came out. Yeah, that movie came out, and they were like, yeah, that's fine. It's a rated R. This one, no. No. You see what he did with that party horn? No. That's not allowed. That is too far. I can't believe you would even suggest such a heinous thing be displayed on our screen. Can't believe you. But otherwise, it's pretty boring. It's pretty much just the same thing over again. This is where it starts to get a little bit insane in the Friday the 13th franchise. You get a girl with telekinesis. Just not a good Friday the 13th movie. Halloween 5. Yep, that's our first entry into The Devil's Eyes. This is a bottom 3 Halloween movie. It's basically Halloween 4, but bad. Because they kill off the amazing character from part 4. You get Jamie Lloyd again, who is a mute for some reason. And I think I said it in my Halloween ranking, but I burst out laughing the first time I saw her portraying the mute. Not because she's a kid actor, but just because she freaking wakes up and is like... And yeah, I just burst out laughing. So that's not a good sign. And then you get one of the most annoying characters in the entire slasher genre in Tina. So not a good one. Now we have Jason Takes Manhattan. And I used to be a little bit higher on this one. I used to think it wasn't as bad as it really is. But I can't. I gotta be honest. It's pretty horrible. First off, Jason Takes Manhattan, complete lie. Jason does not take Manhattan. He barely even freaking makes it to Manhattan. The first hour and a half, pretty much, is spent on a boat ride to Manhattan, which, for that, I think it's a pretty fine, enjoyable Friday the 13th experience. I don't think there's really anything bad about the boat ride. It's just that I was promised Jason in Manhattan, and he is not in Manhattan until the last 15 minutes, which is pretty cool, but you also get some of the worst scenes in the entire movie. You get one of the best ones with the boxing kill, but some of the worst with that. Now we have Jason Goes to Hell, and this is one that a lot of people really, really hate, especially Friday the 13th fans, and I get that. This is the one. This is the one I'll give you where I'm like, okay, that's kind of fun. I'm going to stick it in Everyone's Entitled to One Good Scare. Is it good? No, not even a little. I don't think any of the movies in this middle tier are great movies. Is this one enjoyable and watchable? This has some of the best, most gory kills in the entire franchise. I mean, a guy freaking melts to the floor in this one. But again, party horn through the eye. Get the hell out of here. Now we have Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. And this one might be a little bit controversial, but this is my least favorite Halloween movie. I'm sticking it in the bottom in Devil's Eyes. This is a worse version of Halloween 5. This is just... There isn't a moment of this that I really enjoy. The only thing I like about this movie is the mask and the aesthetic. It looks like a very Halloween movie. But unfortunately, a movie that gives me a lot of Halloween vibes is a movie that I absolutely despise. I do not like Paul Rudd in this movie. I love Paul Rudd. I just don't like him in this movie for some reason. He's putting in a weird performance. You get Loomis back, but like he's weird in this one, and there's also, if you watch the director's cut, yeah, I don't want to get into that. Now we have Halloween H2O, and this is by far my most controversial opinion. I'm not going to put it in the bottom two tiers, because that would be sacrilegious. But as far as me, I'm going to put it in Entitled to One Good Scare. It gives you the Halloween experience. If this is your preferred timeline of the Halloween series, I don't blame you. It's a great timeline to have. You know, you go 1, 2, this movie. That's a pretty good timeline, pretty good trilogy. But for me, especially watching it now for the first time, like a couple years ago, it's a watchable slasher movie. I'm not going to say it's bad, because it's not, but it's also not great. It's just a slasher movie where you eventually kill Michael in the end. So I like it, but not one of my favorites. Now we have Jason X, and this is my least favorite of the Friday the 13th series, going in the bottom. Like I said with Jason Goes to Hell, that's the one I'll give you that I actually have a little bit of fun with. This one, I'm sorry, I know a lot of people like it, and like how insane it is. I'm a Friday the 13th guy, so I hate it. I don't like it. I don't think it's funny. I think all of the attempts at humor fall flat on their face. The sets look cheap as hell. Like, I think they spent $5 putting together these sets, and the rest of the budget went to the freaking... No, I was going to say it went to the special effects, but no, the special effects look just as bad. So I think it went to the practical effects, because you do get some good kills in here, some decent gore, a couple good scenes, but that's about all you get from this one. Now we have Halloween Resurrection, and this is usually considered the worst of the Halloween franchise, and I understand why. But like I said, I'm not a Halloween fan, so I don't despise everything about this movie. Obviously, the Busta Rhymes stuff, terrible. It's horrible. I understand all that stuff. Push it away, just shove it down, burn it with fire. Get that out of here. The rest of the movie is watchable. So I'm going to stick it in Kiki Kill. I don't like it. It's a bad movie. But there's some parts that aren't. I don't know. Now we have Freddy vs. Jason, and this is my favorite slasher movie of all time. If you guys know this story, I've talked about it hundreds of times at this point. This is the movie that made me a horror fan. I watched it on Halloween night with my friend. He wanted to watch Nightmare on Elm Street. I wanted to watch Friday the 13th. We compromised with Freddy vs. Jason, and boom, I'm a horror fan. Next up, we have Halloween 2007, the Rob Zombie one. See, this is like two different movies. You get the first half that's unwatchable, and the second half that's just a good Rob Zombified version of the 1978 movie. I'm going to go Entitled to One Good Scare, because it's not unwatchable. You get through that first 30 minutes where it's just completely unwatchable, horrific violence, sexual assault. Then it's a pretty decent movie after that. So if you're willing to sit through that, you can have a decent Halloween movie. I convinced myself, I was trying to convince myself to bring it up, and I convinced myself to bring it down. So it's going to go in Kiki Kill. Now we have Friday the 13th, 2009, and unfortunately this is the last Friday the 13th movie we've gotten. It's been 15 years. 16. Jesus, I'm losing track of math. 16 years since I've seen my boy. Bring him back, please. I need him. Anyway, this remake is decent. I like it. I think it's a decent remake. But would I put it in... I think I'm going to put it in the middle. It's not what I go to a Friday the 13th movie for. I go for the fun Camp Crystal Lake antics. You get Jason walking around slowly. You know, I go for that 80s feel. This isn't what I go to a Friday the 13th movie for. Now we have Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. And this one I can't even try to defend because this is awful. Going right in the bottom into Devil's Eyes. Oh my god. This is just the first half of the first one for a whole movie. And otherwise, it's just... And you get, like, the weird, like, mom hallucinations the whole... I don't know. Now we have the new David Gordon Green Halloween trilogy. And I think this one's pretty easy. You got Halloween 2018, Mommy's So Proud of You, one of my favorite Halloween sequel. Halloween Kills, everyone's entitled to one good scare, enjoyable, decent slasher movie. And Halloween Ends, Key Kill, a very piss poor attempt at a closure to a trilogy. I mean, you get these first two movies, and never in a million years would I be like, yep, that's the route that I would go for a third movie. I know what they were trying to do was they were going to do something with Halloween 3 and Connell Cochran, but they didn't do that. And instead we got this, which could be a decent movie on its own as like a Halloween movie, but not as the closing chapter to this trilogy. That's not how you close the trilogy. And that is all 25 movies. I'm going to go do my averages. Before I do that, I'm going to explain what I do for the averages. So, up in the top, absolute favorites is going to translate to 5 points, and then 4, 3, 2, 1. And then I'm going to average out the entire franchise and give you the average rating, and then I will tell you which one won. Okay, so using the math I just told you about, I came to the conclusion that literally nobody would have, everybody knew, and even I knew it. Friday the 13th won by a pretty sizable margin. They had a 3.25 average, and Halloween had a 2.61 average, so I am a Friday the 13th guy. I do not hide that fact. I am proud of it, and not a Halloween guy. So, I mean, it was pretty obvious from the start what I thought, or what I knew was going to be the better franchise. So, that's going to be it for today's video. Remember, if you did enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe. So, and you want to see more videos like it in the future, make sure to stay tuned for the rest of my Halloween Spooktacular. You got seven more videos. No, not 7. Jesus. Yeah, no, 7. Okay, I had my math right. 7 more videos coming out soon. And we will have a couple more tier lists, a couple rankings, and a big ranking at the end of the month. So, yeah, stay tuned for all that. Make sure you have the bell notification turned on if you want to be notified when I post those. And until next time, I'm Ethan Horror. This has been Ethan Horror. Oh, that was a weak one. There we go.